everyone. In this video, I'm demonstrating the oil painting procedure using both paintbrushes and palette knives. Let me first explain about the colors I'm using. As you can see, I have placed my palette vertically at the right side of the video. From the upper left, it is titanium white, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, alizarin crimson, cobalt violet, burnt umber, permanent green, sap green, composed blue, and ultramarine. The first thing to do here is the underdrawing. I'm mixing burnt umber and white for that. Some artists use graphite pencils or charcoals for underdrawing, but I believe it's best to use the paint from the beginning to the end. I'm mixing burnt umber and white, but this can actually be any color as long as it is a neutral color. Once the drawing is done, it's the time to fill in the colors. In oil paintings, it is suggested to start by painting the medium dark tones first. For the flesh tone, I'm using the mixture of burnt sienna and white as a base tone. I am also adding some yellows, reds, and greens into the base tones occasionally. Background area is not yet filled in, so let's not use the strong colors at this point. Let's also avoid painting the extreme light and dark areas in the beginning. Alright, let's fill in the background tone. Instead of making it completely flat, I decided to give a slight modeling to the background. Once the base tones are all filled in, let's refine the contrast between the light and shadow areas just a little bit more. It's not necessary to work on the highlights and deep shadows at this point. Keep the soft areas soft and define the important shapes with the semi-crisp edges to keep the figures proportionate. Shapes like her face, hair, body, and wing will later be finessed, so for now I'm focusing on the overall proportions and color harmony. The angel wing will later be colored differently with the palette knives, but for now I'm just filling in the areas with the medium tone. Before starting to use the palette knives, I am going over a few areas just to make sure that all areas are good to go before adding the heavy texture on the angel wing. Let's clarify the facial details and brighten the face a little more. I'm pretty much done with the base tone now, so let's get ready for the palette knives. Okay, so I am now ready to work on the angel wing. As mentioned already, I am using the palette knives to give texture to the angel wing. It's going to be mostly blue, but I'm also giving her some purple and green texture as well. Follow the feather pattern carefully and apply the paint to the direction of the feather. Well, as you can see, I have this camera right in front of me, so I'm using these palette knives in the most awkward position. When you paint, you should move yourself time to time or rotate the canvas whenever necessary to give yourself freedom for more effective brushstrokes and efficient use of palette knives. My setup obviously isn't the best setup, and I'm pretty sure that you won't be having the camera right in front of you when you do your own work, so please have that in consideration if you're referring to this video. Anyway, As I continue to give texture to her wing, I am also softening the shadow areas of the feather. One of the key emphases for this particular painting is to blend the soft edges and hard edges. I am also trying to blend the abstract feel of the wing texture with the realistic capture of the female figure, so the balance there also is important. In this video, I am going Alla Prima style, which means wet on wet from the beginning to the end, but if you wish, you can always let the first layer dry before applying the second layer. It can take a few days or weeks to get everything done in this procedure, but it often is necessary if you are shooting for a certain texture or style. Even if you are going for Alla Prima, you may want to give your work a few hours of downtime, and this will let your paint surface to dry just slightly before applying the second layer. Well, use your time efficiently because there always is at least a few ways to achieve the result that you're going for. Once the wing area is mostly done, I am going back to the head and the body of the figure. I gave her some drying time, so the surface is now a little more workable than before. My emphasis at this point is to give volume to her body. I am starting to brighten the light areas of her body and start deepening the shadow areas to give her more contrast. I am not having a model in front of me nor using a reference, so I am basically using my own knowledge to give her the three-dimensional feel. Let's keep the foam shadows soft and cast shadows crisp. This is the fundamental approach to all three-dimensional forms. As I work on her hair, I have chiseled her hair shape just a little bit by painting the background tone around her. Color matching is one of the most important skill sets for artists, so let's be patient at that. For this particular painting, I am trying to keep her face underdefined because I would like to keep the mysterious look on her. A little more definition still is needed, so I am continuing to define the facial forms a little more. Her hair, on the other hand, needs a lot more definition. Graceful hair makes the figure more beautiful, regardless to say. Let's deepen the shadow tones first, and then brighten the highlights to increase the contrast. I have given her a feel of wind since she's an angel figure. As I brighten the highlights, I just went ahead and brightened the highlights of the wing also. The wing highlight is softer and more yellowish in comparison to the hair highlights. Now I'm going to work on the background tone. I would like to keep the soft lighting feel for the background, so the paint I'm applying to the background will be softened with the flat, round resave brush. To create a nice harmony between the figure and the background, it also is necessary to add the background colors to the figure. The color of the environment always affects the figure or the object I'm painting, so it certainly is mandatory to unify the colors in all areas. As I am about to complete the painting, I am going back to all areas to make sure that all necessary details are indicated. Let's also step back from the work to check the overall proportion. This is something we should try doing every 10 or 20 minutes. Well, I'm almost done here. Let's try to make her as beautiful as possible. If you wish, you can always adopt some of my techniques and approaches and make it yours. It took me roughly 4 hours to paint her, but it is suggested to spend a little more time to bring your work to a more finished look. Well, everyone paints differently, so I'm not getting in there too deeply, but I hope you know what I mean. Here is the completion of my painting. I hope you enjoy seeing my painting procedure. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I see you again next time.